How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf. Finally, season phase 5, whatever the hell it's called, it's back. I'm here. I've just spent the last hour, because my microphone wasn't working or anything, I was just thinking, how the hell, trying to get my my headset, Bluetooth one, set up and all sorts. I just restarted the PlayStation, because then it decided to freeze on me as well. It's really not looking good. Yeah, restarted everything. Thankfully, I'm praying, I've just had a little test run, and I believe the microphone is working. So yeah, season 5, phase 5, whatever it's called. 2 new maps been added. Well, there's 2 new vehicles, like 2 new trucks, but there's also a separate Jeep pack. I've not bought that yet. It's like a separate DLC. You don't get it as part of season 5 or anything like that. Yeah, so I've had a little blast around on the first map tonight, which is called Factory Grounds, I believe. And then the second one, I can't remember, but it's like Pelenimsky something. Some kind of like Russian name to it. These are the 2 new trucks. They look pretty cool, to be honest. I'm pretty excited. Sadly, at the minute, at least, like this was when I first started tonight, neither of them are unlocked. So that's the first one. What's it called? The Force T8157. Well, yeah, I'll just call it the Force. It looks a little bit like the Dolphin, reminds me of that. I noticed it's got like the Advanced Special and so on set of gearboxes, so it's probably a little bit more like, you know, the Klobs, that sort of thing. This one, thankfully, it's got a high range gearbox, which is good, because it kind of reminds me a little bit like John. It's got a not as much of a fat head on it, but it's 8-wheel drive, but it's actually got the high range gearbox. So I've drove neither of them at the minute. I've found one of them, but there's no way it's giving it to me or anything. That's what she said. So yeah, like I've not driven either, but I would go for that red one, the second one I just showed you, just based on the high range gearbox alone. So for the map, you can see you start in, really, from the way the map's orientated, if you kind of have, you can see the little compass just below the name. You're kind of in the bottom right hand corner, really. Not exactly in the bottom right hand corner, but that's the closest corner. I didn't even go around the front of the garage. This is live, so to speak, recorded now, but I just drove out the garage, hit the horn, broke that fence down, because that's already where I decided. I just wanted to drive to the absolute bottom right corner, so that, yeah, I can just start from there. There's only one watchtower. It's kind of, yeah, I'm kind of heading to the bottom right. The watchtower's kind of, well, you can see from where I am. I should hopefully move over to the left in a sec. Anyway, there's a watchtower. There you go. So the watchtower's there. There's only one watchtower, and it doesn't uncover the entire map. Personally, I've not found a trailer store yet, and I'm pretty sure now I've explored, as near as makes no difference, the entire map. I'm not sure. There is a trailer store. I've also been a little bit on the other map, but I cut that out because obviously I'll get into doing a video on that in the next day or so. I don't know if there's a trailer store on the other map. There is various trailers scattered around on this map. Not loads, but there's certainly enough that, you know, if it's wanting you to deliver cargo and whatnot, there's trailers there. So yeah, all I was saying was that, is like I could have put a, what do you call it, like the radar trailer on the loaf. Goddamn horse vehicle, he's back, of course. It's good to be driving the loaf again. I had a little zip around in the loaf. Got him loaded up though on, yeah, the Zix 605R, because to be honest, as far as exploring goes, this thing is, when I'm exploring, I do a lot of, like, you know, I'm just stopping every few minutes, I'm looking on the map. I can't always be bothered, like, turning the engine off and on every time. So if I was taking the Dolphin or something, obviously it does nail your fuel pretty quickly. This thing, was it 350 or 80 litres or whatever, it's got the roof rack. Got a goddamn horse for me, so yeah, can't really go wrong. As well, the nice thing with the Zix, to be fair to its credit, it's pretty bloody good at not tipping. So it's just one of them. I could be halfway around the map, get to a bit of an awkward bit, and the fact that if you're going to tip the Zix, you're going to tip most of the things. The Kolob, to be fair, the long-nosed Kolob, it's nigh on impossible to tip. The flat-faced Kolob, it's probably as good as easily, I would say, as this. But yeah, for the most part, like, it's a pretty solid truck to just actually take around and start having a little snoop around. Overall as well, first impressions of the maps, it's one of them where I've always noticed, like, I tend to try and be optimistic anyway, so every time we get a new map I'm kind of like, yeah, you know, good feeling. I'm just genuinely being honest. It's like, I can only say what my first impression is. If my first impression is I hate the map, I'd say it, but I tend to find, if anything, I quite like the maps at the start, and then it's only after a few days when you sort of notice, oh, some dev put this here just to be a dick, so I have to go around the long way, and I don't know, you know, just little bits and bobs. I appreciate that going around the long way is kind of part of the game, but you know what I mean. They've done extra little things that are like kill the fun a little bit as well at the same time. First impressions of this map, I genuinely do like it. It's it definitely reminds me of like Michigan. It looks quite a lot like Michigan. I like the sunny, summery, you know, like autumn leaf trees and all that going on. It's nice to have a little bit of a break from snow again. All the Chimcheruski and Northern Aegis and all that stuff. It was good fun while it lasted and all the rest of it. But yeah, this feels like a definite nice sort of change of scenery, really. It's as silly as it sounds. Even little things like it's easier to read the missions because there's not white snow everywhere, and I'm trying to read white text. So it's just little things like that. It feels a lot more just nice to go floating around in. The map itself, this one, Factory Grounds, I certainly don't dislike it or anything like that. I wouldn't say it's like a standout favourite, because I've not really found anything yet that's, you know, like makes this map like, wow, that's a cool map, I'll go back there because it's got this part that's pretty cool. Like, just overall, it's a general nice feel to the map. This is like, now I'm heading down to the bottom right corner. As you can see, I can see a gateway in the corner, so I was like, well, I'll just kind of drive over there just to check. You know, just to see if it even is a live gateway or anything like that, and it offered me the chance, so I sod it. I pressed the button, but like I said, I cut that out because, yeah, there's no point. So you can see, I've just drove past that Azov Antarctic thing that was in the water. The reason I just cut back is because after I went to that second map, and I didn't explore the whole second map, I just had a little look around at the start, just to see if I could find one of those trucks, to be honest, to unlock them. After that, I drove back to the garage with the Zix and Loaf that I'm in now, just to that's why my fuel's basically back to full again, just to start from the garage again, because by the time I'd had a little whip around that second map, I was back down to 100 litres odd, and it's like, you know, I've got fuel on the Loaf and everything. I could have refilled myself to the top, but yeah, I don't know what's going to be happening later on, so while I'm actually just down the road from the garage, I quickly, I didn't even recover or anything like that and reload the Loaf. I just drove back there. You can see, in fact, some of my suspension and gearbox or whatever engine has still got a little bit of damage on it from the first time. So far, I've basically came down to the bottom right-hand corner and then turned, well, I've turned right, but the way you were looking at the map, I'm now kind of going left along the bottom of the map. And overall, there's a few muddy patches on this map, but it feels decent enough to go driving around. Like, the map itself doesn't feel, so far, like, overly brutal. And it's not a very big map either, and I've kind of done a couple of laps of it now, so there can't be that many, you know, different routes or whatever that can throw at me, because like I said, it's quite a small map, and it's just, there's only so many ways you can go anyway, and a lot of them are like this. You've got, you know, muddy roads, little bits of boggy sections, but nothing too insane. I'm hoping that these two new trucks, I believe they're both Tatras, I'm hoping they're kind of, you know, I really hope they're not just gimmick trucks, because one, they actually both look pretty cool and potentially useful, but yeah, I hope it's not just like, oh, let's give them another Dolphin but make it a bit crapper because we can't possibly give them anything great. It's like everything's got to come with some hindrance to it. So it's like, I mean, when you think about it, stuff like the Dolphin is still one of the top trucks in the game, despite the fact that it was one of the cheapest, best trucks in the game that was available pretty bloody, well, it was available at the start, but you had to get to a certain level, like 12 or 14 or whatever. And it shits over near enough every single vehicle that's been added since and all sorts, so I'm hoping that these trucks will actually be like new contenders for top trucks. There's no reason why it shouldn't be. Again, the game's, you know, getting on for a year and a half old or whatever. I've paid my money. I've paid money for the first season, I've paid more money for the second season. Like, just give me some good stuff, but I don't have to add the top engine in if I don't want to. If I want it a little bit, meh, but I don't. I want to drop the hammer and go rallying around some of these new maps. So yeah, that's where we're at so far. And like right now, I'm driving, like I said, along the bottom of the map, really, just trying to get to this first watchtower. I had a feeling every map we've been on before, they tend to, I won't say it like completely, but they have enough watchtowers to uncover like a hell of a lot, if not all of the map. This one, it felt like a small map, but I was like, I don't know. If I'm lucky, I'll find this one watchtower and it'll just unlock the entire map. As I said, I can't get like a radar trailer or anything like that, so I can't just kind of cheat and do it that way. Which, to be honest, no, I don't think it is cheating, but I've had that option before to use the radar trailers, and I don't always go for it. Sometimes I took one with me as a precaution and then just cut it loose, because I couldn't even be bothered towing it behind me anymore. But yeah, I kind of like to go old school with the old Explorer and just actually do it myself, rather than, yeah, just keep driving forward 50 foot, hit a radar trailer, and then it's like you can see exactly what's going on. Thankfully, when you get down here, the bridge, you can see like a proper big bridge, that's all smashed up. Don't know if you'll ever get a chance to repair it. To be completely honest with you, I don't even, that I can remember, seen a thumbnail of any of these new maps, so I heard people saying it was like a summery kind of Russian map, so I assumed it was going to be like this rather than snowy stuff and all the rest of it. Other than that, had no idea what to expect. Never seen a picture of the 2 new vehicles until I logged on today when it finally updated. Yeah, I don't know what it is with PlayStation. It's like I finally click SnowRunner to play the game, and then just as it starts to load the game up, it says, oh, by the way, you've got an update that I could have done at any point for the last 10 hours, but I thought I'd wait until you wanted to play the game to tell you that you can't play the game until you've updated it. So yeah, I don't know why. It's something to do. I have to enter my card details, even though it's free to get because I've already paid for the season. It must be a PlayStation thing. It must be so if someone's entered their credit card details for their kid, they can't then go and spend another grand on Fortnite. Like, they need to keep entering like the last 3 digits of their security number and all this bollocks. That's what it made me do before it had let me have the update. So if anyone is stuck, by the way, if you've kind of updated the game, because I updated the game, it still didn't have these maps. If you've updated the game and you haven't got the maps, go into the PlayStation Store and you just have to click download, and then it'll tell you to enter your card details. It won't charge you a penny, it's just making sure, yeah, you're not your kid that's just buying a load of stuff without your knowledge. And then that's it, and then click download. It won't even waste, like, it won't give you a time frame to download. As soon as you click it, it's already downloaded, but you've got to kind of confirm it. So yeah, got to the watchtower. Thankfully that kind of rocky thing going across the water was actually pretty doable. Like, drove over there pretty easy, no problem. So yeah, it was the only watchtower. That's kind of the view in front of me. There's like a little factory sort of thing going on the beach. I believe you get from there, so far that I know of, I don't know if there is other stuff as well, service spare parts. So I've basically done a U-turn now. There's this, it's like a scrapyard, to be honest. That's sort of what it reminds me of, just slap bang in the middle of the map, really. And so a minute ago I was yapping as usual. Get back into the swing of things pretty quick. But I managed to find on the map, I could see a truck. I knew it was like extremely likely that it was going to be one of these new trucks. Started driving up there. There was a little glitch, not on edit, but this is like a random pile of scrap. It was no particular issue. I don't know particularly why I stopped there. I was probably just looking around, whatever. Started driving over here, and I sort of got stuck on nothing really. It's not the best angle to see, but I cut some of it out. I was stuck there for about a minute or two. There was not really anything I was wedged on. There was nothing sticking up or out. It just, yeah, it was not having it. So there's one of the trucks. So that must be the first truck I looked through, the Tatra Force 815, whatever the bollocks was. Yeah, it's kind of here in this scrapyard, fenced off in its own little like rocky area. I drove as close to it as I sort of could. I didn't really want to ramp down sort of into that little rocky circle with it, but it didn't say vehicle found or anything. I'm pretty damn certain it would have by then if, you know, it would let that situation happen. I was hoping it'd say vehicle found and I could switch to it, recover it to the garage, and then just quickly, you know, upgrade it and that to show us and see for myself what's going on. I mean, I'm assuming there's going to be some kind of mission. It's probably in the contracts. That's what I was sort of saying a minute ago as well. I've not even looked at the contracts. I kind of forgot, to be honest, until I'm recording this now. I couldn't tell you if there's 5 contracts or 55. But I'm going to put my money on that one of them will be a mission that you'll have to do something, and it'll then unlock that truck for you. Probably part of it is rescuing the truck. It's the fact that it's kind of fenced off in its own little rocky section. Yeah. I did have a little go. I stuck a winch to it and just tried to yank it out as I was driving away from there, but it got caught on the rocks. Probably have to send something with a crane. Well, I don't know, because that's the thing. The big cranes are just too weak, unless they've fixed them, which I won't hold my breath for, but I suppose I'll test them and find out. But yeah, the big cranes from as of last week wouldn't be able to lift that new truck out of that little rock circle. So anyway, I got over to the other side here. I actually thought, oh, fuel station, cool. When I got here, though, you can see, like, you got a mission and it says access to location. So I've got to complete a mission first. I accepted the mission, because now you can see in the top right, it's called Old Fuel Station, and I've got to get 3 lots of fuel. The 3 lots of fuel are actually quite near to that gateway to the second map I went to. They're just, it's like a train has tipped over and crashed, and there's just 3 things of fuel there. So it's pretty easy. I have actually already dropped them off to the fuel station, and that's when it then does a part 2 of the mission, and it wanted me to get service spare parts, which you now get from like the bottom left where I said there was that factory building on the beach. There, by the way, the fuel station is right next to me to my right now. Apologies, I had to cut a separate bit of footage in. I just forgot to save within the 15 minute. I must have saved like 16 minutes, so I just missed like this little drive basically, just straight up the road, going from the fuel station to this next little factory section. It's pretty handy though while I'm at it, as you can see. Got the goddamn horse for me again, got a dolphin out, got one of these new kind of ramped flatbed kind of things that you actually have a, I don't know what they'll call it, a beaver tail or something like that. Yeah, you can drive vehicle. I didn't have to now crane this loaf on, I can just lower that ramp and all the rest of it. I'll show you a little bit later in the video, kind of just quickly how to mess around with it, because the controls for it, they're a bit broken. I don't know if they're going to change them soon, but nonetheless, I'll show you how I was able to operate the thing as of like an hour ago, because it ain't the buttons it's telling you. So when you go up here, I mean, you've seen from the fuel station I just drove straight ahead, got to this little factory section, and now I'm going to cut back to my original footage. So when you get to this factory, if I go left, which I did, there's a little, what do you call them, like the contest or whatever, there's like a timed event to the left. You just have to drive through over a little bumpy thing. To be honest, it's a piece of piss, but it's quite a cool little silly test. Like, it's easy, so and yeah, and then when you get through the factory, if you look to the right, there's just a load of crap pile, you know, pretty typical stuff they do on SnowRunner. They just kind of block the ways you can go with random piles of scrap. As you can see, there's no mission there that was saying like clear the, you know, roadblock or anything. But I was able to just drive over all the crap, so I don't know if that's going to be what's expected for the rest of the map, or if again there's going to be some kind of contract that'll factor in cleaning that factory area up and it'll stop leaving crap all over the floor. Which again, this game is pretty fond of, like, that's their just go-to way for like, how can we block the way? Just put a load of shit there. And then yeah, kind of now we're near enough to the top of the map really. It's not the top of the map as you look at it, but as you can see to my left there's just like the water and everything, so yeah. I'm pretty much as far north as I can go on this map. Just looking along the shoreline, again I was trying to spot if there's any vehicles that are just sat there that I can sort of, you know, I need to just drive near and it'll let me have them for free or whatever. Well, that bridge is out, and again, there's no mission there that's telling me I can fix it. I don't know if it's ever fixable or not. That was, my marker was kind of pushed along the boundary edge of the map there, so as you can tell, they're definitely not big maps. Which again, it doesn't bother me. As long as the map we get is cool and it feels, you know, fair enough and fun enough, it doesn't feel like it's been made tedious and all that. And I have to say, so far, it doesn't really. I always allow, you know, when you don't know a map, you're not always going to pick the best route and all the rest of it, so I don't mind waiting a couple of days just to kind of get used to the best routes anyway. But this map being so small, I can kind of, you just already know, if you know what I mean. There's kind of one main way to go, which I've near enough just done, exploring the map. This would be kind of now the last little bit to sort of join the map up in one big circle. So at this point I've got the choice. I can have this kind of extreme off-roading route back to the garage, which is pretty quick from the bridge that I was just sat on, or I can go double back on myself basically all the way back around the map to the garage. And you see, it's little bits like this where you'll see the Zix is tipping quite a lot in certain situations now, where it was definitely close to just tipping the vehicle, if you know what I mean. Both of us, me and the old goddamn professional, just tipping like there. A lot of the Dolphin probably would have gone there, to be fair. Dolphin's pretty decent at not tipping, but I would say this is probably better at it. And yeah, I don't really know what all this section is. You can see there's like some makeshift bridge sticking out of the wall. I look on the map, and there's nothing on the map that signifies as a bridge in front of me. It just looks like water, so I'm now going to swerve off to the left. I'm basically trying to cross this river with, yeah, obviously that bridge was broken. And I'm going to assume if I just tried to drive under the bridge, the water would have been far too deep and drown me. Could do the old submarine loaf. He's good for a bit of submarine loafing, but yeah. We'll check this way out, and just by pure chance I was driving past, I'm like, ooh, don't mind if I do. Yeah, an upgrade part. I believe, to be honest, if I remember correctly, it was an engageable, so it must be the diff. I believe it was for that first truck, the Force one. To be honest, I can't remember what the name of the other one was now. Not the Force one, the red one. The red one and the green one. Yeah, the Force, blah blah blah, whatever. So what's that, engageable? So at least, so that means then it's not going to be diffs always on. So it's going to be a little bit. It's probably not, I don't know. It's probably not going to be that too dissimilar though from the Tatra. You know, like the Tatra pack we all got a month or two ago. Because it's the green, the two new vehicles. The one I've just got that engageable diffs for. That's also the one that had the special and advanced special gearbox. So it's basically, it's just going to be another version of that Tatra we've got. That's those type of gearboxes. Diffs are engageable, they're not always on. Fingers crossed then, that new red truck, the one that looks a bit like a leaner, meaner, faster version of John, hopefully, yeah, that's got diffs always on. I mean, by now in the game, it's not really a coincidence that practically every best truck in the game has got diffs always on. Even the goddamn horse, even he's got diffs always on. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's a goddamn horse of a vehicle, but yeah, stuff like the I've not even not played this game for that long, and I still kind of like forgot the names of them and all sorts. What's the Taiga? That's it. The Taiga's good. That's diffs always on. The Dolphin's solid. That's diffs always on. This thing's solid. It's diffs always on. The only exception I can think of off the top of my head is the Voron Grad. That's a truck I know I definitely like, that I don't believe has diffs always on. I'm pretty sure they're engageable. And that being said, if they had the option of diffs always on, it probably would be a slightly objectively better truck anyway. It's just the Voron's Grad good enough. It's good enough that it doesn't really need it. By the way, does anyone feel like they've nerfed... You just see now, I'm driving up a hill. I'm not towing any trailers or cargo, I've got a loaf with me, that's it. But it's a Zik 605R with a top KZ GT engine and all the rest of it. It couldn't even climb up that hill without losing its guts and just having to drop down the gears. And that was a few times tonight where, again, it just feels a little bit meh. And it didn't really feel like it was the map. Like, normally you can actually, if I was driving up that hill and it was some extra sticky mud for whatever reason, you could kind of get the feel that it's the terrain causing that. Tonight, actually, the terrain felt one of the fairer feeling maps, considering they're still trying to make it, you know, have a certain level of difficulty. They don't want it to be just another beginner map that's like a piece of piss and all the sort of stock version trucks can just walk all over it. So yeah, it's like a harder version of Michigan. But I didn't really feel the map was being harsh to me. It just felt like this thing was a little bit gutless here and there. Not anything crazy, just... yeah. I don't really think in real life it would have been struggling as much as it was giving me the impression it was. So whatever this is down here, some little yard at the, well, I suppose the top of the map really, you could see the boat off in the distance and all the rest of it. Yeah, like a little yard there. As of now, there was something it said I could pick up with a crane, but I couldn't see any like loading bay area that was giving me the option to just do it that way or collect it from a loading dock or something. So yeah, really not sure yet. Just by the time I got everything updated and all that tonight, I just needed to get on, fly around the map. Yeah. Like I said, delivered those 3 fuel things to the fuel station, then it said stage 2 and I had to go and get some service spare parts, I didn't bother with them then. I just saved the footage and got on with a bit of the editing. And then spent an hour working out why my microphone's not working. Still don't know why. Today was just a day. Do you know what? The only thing it might have been is because I updated the game, it might have freaked the PlayStation out for some reason. And then it just wasn't recognising the... I thought, oh, just by some sheer chance, the wires finally gave up. And the microphone's not working, but as I was jiggling the wires, normally you just hear some crackling and feedback as you, like, moving the wires and all the rest of it. I couldn't hear a damn thing, and it's like, I don't know, felt a bit too coincidental that my microphone just so happened to choose today of all days when the game releases new maps and that my my microphone dies today. So yeah, thankfully reset the PlayStation and everything and it worked. See? I mean, I didn't quite get it. Well, I did actually. I was going to say percussive maintenance. I certainly did give my headphone not an aggressive little slap, but you know, tapping them around. See if there's a loose wire that needs a bit of a extended warranty. And then this thing here, you can see now, from where I've kind of cut down from that factory, it's a little bit of a makeshift route, but certainly with a truck like this 6605R is more than comfortable ticking along through here, and it's sort of a shortcut. It helps just, yeah, make the map one giant circle. Again, if that bridge at the top of the map was fixed, or is at least fixable at some point, then it'd be pretty cool, because you'll just have like a nice lap of the map then. I mean, again, cutting through like this is no issue now, but you know what I mean, if you had like a big trailer with 6 cargo on and all that stuff, it'd probably be, you'd have to be a little bit more delicate. I'm just kind of dropping the hammer at the minute and hoping for the best. When you got a horse with you, you don't really need to worry. He's a goddamn professional for a reason. Although, I will say, they have tampered with a loaf, and I'm definitely not happy about it. Luckily for them, he's a goddamn horse or a vehicle, but they have 1,000,000% tampered with a loaf. If you stand the loaf up on his nose, he 100% of the time, even if he was beyond his tipping nose point, he would still sit back on his wheels. Now, if you get it like sat straight up, it wants to start leaning towards its roof instead, so they've definitely fiddled with something 1,000,000%. Which is a goddamn outrage. Get onto that strongly worded letter immediately. Yeah, so there's a lap of the map. I mean, there you go. I'll have a little look kind of on it now. You can see there's a little patch in the middle I've not discovered, so in a minute there'll be an edit. And ta-da. Yeah, I cut out. I just was driving aimlessly around the map trying to plug a few holes as you do. That's what she said. Yeah, you know, just all the little dark patches that were going around. This is the basic route I took. So I came out of the garage, started driving down that road. There's the Azov Antarctic thing. Got to here. I quickly nipped to that gateway, but then when I came back, I essentially swerved down this road. You can see those 3 yellow boxes, by the way. That's the fuel at the bottom. Cut along here. It doesn't really matter which road you take as you're heading left. This one, it sort of does, though, really. Cut along next to the river. That's like a little... Yeah, it's just shallow enough that you can actually drive across. Grab the watchtower. Here's like the little junkyard, scrapyard sort of thing in the middle, which is where I spotted this truck. So I just drew some dots to that, drew it to the other side, which is the fuel station. The bit of footage I had to replace with Dolphin and Loaf was just from the fuel station to here, about there. There's that obstacle course if I went to the left, and you just literally drive down there, go over some bumpy things, drive the opposite. Yeah, it's like, I got a silver medal, and I took like 1 minute and 4 seconds, so whatever gold is, it's going to be pretty rapid. And then, yeah, got to that bridge that's out, had to kind of cut down. I could sort of see enough on the map that all these little islands look like it'd at least be shallow enough that I could risk it. And then there's that factory in kind of the top corner, double back on myself, cut through. Again, it's a pretty fair, reasonable, like, you know, little section you can weave through the trees. Doesn't feel like it'll be too much of a dick, even if you've got, like, you know, a trailer and cargo. Doesn't feel like you're going to be snagging on trees every 2 seconds and all that. So, like I said, overall first impressions feeling good, unless they fiddle with things in the next few days and start going, oh, we'll just make this mud and this terrain worse and all the rest of it. That's different, because I also think they do an element of that. So what I'm doing now, quickly, I'm holding L1, because that's what's allowing, sorry, is it L? Yeah, it might have been L1. To bring, you can see in the bottom right-hand corner, the controls. To make the thing extend and retract like that, I was doing, whilst holding L1, left on the analog stick, on the left analog stick, and then right on the left analog stick to make it go longer and shorter. And then while still holding L1, you can use L2 or R2 to make it, like, you know, the ramp go up and down, like, rather than just extending it. And as you can see though, I could put the ramp down, the loaf just drives straight up. I cut it out, but I did try reversing the loaf to see if I could pack the loaf on the ramp itself. It wouldn't let me. There is, oh yeah, it's the bridge laying thing. That let me pack the loaf on the bridge. And yeah. One dolphin, one goddamn horse. It's pretty cool though that they've added that new thing. And like I say, that's about it. It's a fairly short video, probably one of the first, the shortest exploration videos I've done. You can see in the bottom left there's a little picture of Jeep. I believe it was £4.99, so it's £5. There's 2 Jeeps. I'll be honest, I'm not that desperate to get it because it's just 2 Scouts that I'll probably won't use because I've got a goddamn professional. But nonetheless though, I will get them at some point and obviously give them a test and let you know what I think of them. It's just I didn't bother tonight because I know I wouldn't really get around to using them anyway. So yeah, I mean that's about it. Like I say, first impressions, it's feeling pretty good. That's what she said. I like the feel of the map. It's a nice change from Snow. It's good to actually just have some content back. I've been pretty bored waiting to make some more SnowRunner videos. So yeah, appreciate everyone waiting around for new content to be happening. But yeah, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it helps. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.